So, welcome everyone to Team Elevate's Keep It Simple, Keep It Thermy cooking class. The whole idea of this evening is to show you just how simple it is to make really delicious, tasty dishes in your Thermomix that are very quick to do. They're great to have pre-prepared in advance. They're also super good at saving you some dollars. And while we're cooking, we will also be talking about the different offers and things that are available at the minute. So I'm Sarah. We have also got Jane, Kaz, and Leanne. Now I have spotlighted everyone. So if you're looking on a bigger screen, you can see all four of us at once. If you would like to see just the person who is talking, you can hover over the three dots on the right-hand corner and you can pin them. And then that will also just highlight them as the main person that you see if you're just on a smaller device like a phone or something like that. So now that we've got that started, we're just going to get started on the cooking because it means those of us who are waiting for our dish to cook to eat dinner can eat. So take us away, Kaz. You're going to start us off with our lovely philo pies. So take it away.
Thank you, Sarah. So yes, tonight I am making the spinach and chorizo filo pies, and they are from the New York road trip collection. Some really good ones to find in there, and I love always scrolling down in a recipe to see what collection it's from, and then you just go down a rabbit warren of seeing what else is in there. So the first step is very, very easy. All we have is turning our oven on, which I'll turn on a little bit later because mine heats up pretty quickly. But one chorizo just chopped up into 2 centimetre chunks. Oh, actually, first we're greasing a Texas 6-hole, like a jumbo size muffin. You can do smaller ones as well, but I'm doing the 6 big ones tonight. And my son has already bagged one in his lunchbox tomorrow. So we're greasing that as well. But yes, our chorizo going in there. And then also one potato, roughly 120 grams, peeled and cut into 3 centimetre pieces. And then we're just going to chop that for 4 seconds, speed 5. So lid on, and using the graphics on the side as well, just pressing play. Actually, need to find where my TM7 spatula is. So the trusty TM6 spatula. And all we need to do is cook that for 15 minutes, 100 degrees, and it's actually set it to half a speed and reverse. So I'm just going to scrape down the edges to get all that potato and chorizo down to the bottom. And those oils in the chorizo is all it's going to need to fry that up. So that's my step for now. And then we're going to set that aside once it's finished. While that's happening, I'm actually going to oil and lay together my 6 sheets of phyllo pastry, and then I'm going to line my tray with that. So back to you.
We might move across then to Leanne, who is going to start us off with our chickpea shawarma, because that's the hardest thing on the planet to get out in one mouthful. So crack on, Leanne. Glad you have to say it more than once. Salad bowl, which is a really great alternative for a lunch, really healthy. So off you go, Leanne.
Right. Well, I'm glad you said it first. So I just love it. I go to the shawarma, cafe down the road from work. So chickpea shawarma. So thanks, Sarah. So the theme of tonight, if you haven't guessed, is keep it simple, which I absolutely love because at the moment my household is a little chaotic. So we are going to start with the chickpea salad. So preheat oven, I will do that right now actually, because I haven't. So it says preheat to 200 because we're going to sort of crisp up the pita bread and the chickpeas. So next, I've lined 2 baking trays with baking powder, paper, and we will start with 2 cloves of garlic. I'll tip that off. So those of you that may not be a TM7 owner yet, we've got this great list of ingredients on the screen, and you can just tick them off as you go, which I absolutely love because it then reminds me of why I'm gas bagging away. I know where I'm at when I look back at the Thermomix. So next step is we've got a whole heap of spices. So we've got cumin, coriander, salt, turmeric, ground. These are all ground, by the way. Allspice, ginger, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and that's all in this little tub here. So because I put them all in there together, I can then just go and tick off my list what I've actually got. So I'm just going to tick those off, pop those beautiful spices in there, and I'm going down the list, and I'm going to put 60 grams of oil. Oh, a little bit more, doesn't matter. And because that one's got the weight in there, a little slider thing goes across, and it will actually ticks that ingredient off for me. So it's pretty cool to watch. So now that I'm ready to do that, I'm hitting next and popping the lid on. And for 1 minute, we are going to take that off.
So while that's whizzing for Leanne, I can see that Jane has dropped off, but that's all right. She'll be back in a second. Gotta love internet when you're running a Zoom class. You have it, then you don't have it. But so some other great salad ideas that you can have in your Thermomix, whether you've had it for a short time or a long time, I would love to know in the chat what model Thermomix you have and what your favourite salad ideas might be. But this salad has you toasting up your chickpeas and pita bread in the oven, and Leanne at the minute is milling down the spices, so Zoom automatically mutes her without her control, which is why you can't hear her at the minute. But some super easy salads you can make in the Thermomix: beetroot salad, broccoli salad, traffic light salad, coleslaw salad, all take only 3 seconds on speed 5 to create the entire dish. So they are super easy, super tasty, super healthy, and great budget busters to just be able to whip up on a moment's notice. So everything goes in for all of those dishes in roughly quarter apple sort of size pieces, and literally 3 seconds speed 5 will get you all of those salads. So some nice easy ones. You're done zooming, blitzing over there, Leanne?
Sorry, I couldn't hear a thing as it was going, because it was maximum speed and it was milling. So it's beautifully done that. And as you can see, we have a beautiful combined paste there. So it says to scrape down the sides, but I'll leave that. Now we're going to add the chickpeas. So I've got 400 grams. So this is drained and rinsed. So just be careful that when you're buying your 400-gram tins, you're actually going to probably end up with about 250 grams once you get rid of all that liquid. I have made that mistake many times in the past, but I have learnt along the way. So 400 grams, I'm going to measure that in. And I've just gone a bit over, so that's fine. Approximately 1 onion thinly sliced, cut into slices. That's a red onion. And we have a red capsicum sliced as well. I'll pop all that in. So I'm ticking off those ingredients. Go to next. We'll pop the lid on and we're going to combine that for 30 seconds. So it's not actually chopping at this stage, it's really just gently combining those ingredients because we've already sliced them up nice and thin.
So it's literally
And
just giving them a nice coat of that,
yeah,
basically the seasoning mix that you've made.
correct. And it's so quiet now, I can't even hear it. I had to look a few times to make sure it's actually doing something. So
You could
that's
also
good.
easily sub out like a taco seasoning mix.
Yeah.
There's plenty of flavours you could probably pop in if you didn't
Definitely.
necessarily have, you know,
Absolutely.
these
Oh.
ingredients at the ready.
So this is now going to go into a prepared tray, and we're going to pop that in the oven with I've already cut up some pita bread that's cut into triangles, and we're just drizzling that with a bit of oil and some salt. So they're going to go into the oven at the same time, which I'm going to do right now. So you might want to go across to someone else while I put that in, and then it will go in for, I think, 20 minutes all up.
Can we have a look at the
Oh,
inside
look.
of that
Yep.
one?
You
Leanne?
can. So as you can see,
Oh, up a bit higher.
sorry, I don't want it to
need,
fall out.
need to tip ourselves in.
Yeah. I'll pour it out and you'll see it better.
Yes, that makes so
Yeah.
much more sense. Do that.
Right.
While you're putting that out on the tray, I might get started on our next dish, which is the sticky chicken drumettes. They're super easy to make, you'll soon see. So it wants a 3 centimetre piece of ginger. I always slice it into coins because you get a much better chop out of your ginger if you help it out and put it in the coins. It wants 2 cloves of garlic. And we're going to go next. And then it wants our lid on. And this is going to chop for 3 seconds on speed 7. But here's the tip. Just use speed 5. Because there's nothing wet in there. So your garlic and your ginger will chop beautifully on speed 5. So really easy to do. You might prefer the 7 that it suggests. Oh, Leanne.
That's better.
Yeah, that was good.
Right, that's going in the oven now. Sorry, Sarah.
You're all right. Just looking at all those seasoned ingredients, they look tasty. So I'm just going to put in 20 grams of olive oil. And if you're pouring in an ingredient and it's close to what the ingredient weight says, then the Thermomix will automatically tick your ingredient off as well, if you like. So it wants 80 grams of a light soy sauce. I love ketchup mayonnaise, so that's what I switch it out for. I do half ketchup mayonnaise and half the soy, light soy. So we're going in with that.
You just said to me, right?
So then we want some honey. It's just 50 grams. It wants 40 grams of tomato paste. You can easily make this yourself in the Thermomix. I keep them in the freezer. That's just one of the blocks. So I can show you those. They're a really easy thing to have on hand in your freezer. It wants a teaspoon of mustard. You can use any flavour that you like. This is just a Dijon. It wants half a teaspoon of black pepper. And 60 grams of orange juice. So then we're going to blend this now for just 20 seconds on speed 6. And then what you end up with is this. a giant big baggie of chicken. It says around it says around 900 grams. I always go, the chicken's on special at the minute, so 2 kilos for $10 in the chicken drumettes. So I just grabbed 2 kilos. I got about 2.2 kilos. Don't sweat it. I just put half in each bag. So I have a bag here to go to the freezer. So I've named it, dated it. That's what that marinade's going to go on, because this would sit in the fridge. You can either marinate this overnight, or you can put this into a vacuum seal bag, etc. And you can do that. So the idea now is actually to get out your chicken without the marinade. So you don't need to be too fussy about it, but so you're just going to get the chicken out and pop it into your dish, because what you're going to do is cook this in the oven for 15 minutes or so. The oven is already warmed up. It's on 190 degrees. And then after 15 minutes, we're going to give the chicken a bit of a stir, and then we're going to add the marinade in. So all that delicious flavour does end up back on your chicken, but just not for the first 15 minutes. So get that chicken out. So you can see you've still got all your marinade here. And I've got our tray of chicken here, which fits nicely. You could probably fit about 1.5 kilos of your chicken drumettes in the Fira cast iron dish. And you definitely don't need any more marinade than what you've got. There is plenty to go around. So I'm going to get these into the oven. At the 15-minute mark, I'm literally going to pop the rest of the marinade on the top. I won't come back and show you the chicken until we're done. So we will move across now to Jane. I think Jane's going to make us a fresh mojito that's non-alcoholic.
I am. My tip also, we've subbed out instead of drumettes before because we've had just drumsticks because they're on special. So they also work. You obviously just need to adjust your cooking time. I am going to do the alcohol-free Berry Mojito. So a really good one getting into summer, and a really nice way to make something fresh and easy in your Thermomix to enjoy. I can't remember which collection this is from, but I'll post it later. And as you saw earlier, I already dropped out in my screen, so I'm a bit scared to click them. But I have 250 grams of fresh berries. So I've got a mix of strawberries, blueberries, blackberries and raspberries, because I thought, why not? They were on special. And as you can see, that's just ticking that off for me on my TM7. I'm going to blend them up. This is one that you could obviously change the amounts and things depending on how many people you've got. This one's served 6. So just using that blend mode to combine those berries. And I'll show you that. The colours in there.
We can't hear what you said before, Jane, while that was blending.
Oh, can't remember.
You were just saying that you can adjust the recipes, but this one serves 6.
Yeah, thanks. I knew someone had my back. Just some lemons. So we're leaving the peel on with these lemons. The cold water, which I've put in the fridge, so that's not so good. I'll grab that out. This is why we need to keep it simple and real at home, isn't it? I'm just going to measure that out there. So I've got 500 grams of cold water. And again, I love the way you can sub up different things in here, depending on the budget and what's in season at the moment. Some water. Got some beautiful fresh mint. And great example, you don't always need to have a dinner and things to get value from your Thermomix. Use it for so many other things. And then we're just adding some sugar. I'm just using raw sugar because that's what we've got. And it gives you just a range to do between 50 and 80 grams, depending on how sweet you like it and what berries you've got. And within that range, it'll still tick that off if you're within that range. We are going to crush it, apparently, which is really just using turbo mode.
While that's crushing that up, I'll show you the marinade mix so you can see that there. I'm about to pour that over the chicken drumettes that I've got in the bag.
Mine's kind of just looking like a bit of a punch at the moment. You see the lemons, I'm scared I'm going too far out. I'm just going to add some more water.
While you're doing that there, Jane, my chorizo and potato mix has finished cooking. So I'm just going to put that aside in a bowl, and I'm just going to use my thermo server as a bowl. And then after Jane's finished, I'll go on to the next step.
We're just inserting our simmering basket from our TM7. I'm going to put that in over the top because that's then going to hold my bits of lemon and things in while I pour this into a jug. Okay. This is sometimes when I love having that second bowl, which I'm waiting for to earn as a consultant, because sometimes it's easy just to pour straight into a second jug. Sorry, I'm doing this backwards. I couldn't do it the other way tonight.
So my recipe, while you're pouring out those there, Jane, is to 120 grams. So we've poured out our chorizo and potato mix, and now we're adding in 120 grams of baby spinach. Now you could also use some frozen spinach as well if you didn't have any fresh. And now we're just going to use the spatula just to push it down to the bottom around those blades. And we're going to chop that spinach for 5 seconds at speed 6. And really quiet. Am I right to keep going?
Yeah, I've just finished straining mine. I'm just going to quickly clean my bowl so I'm ready for the next one.
Alrighty, so into our chopped spinach. You can see in the light there, nice and finely chopped. And we have 3 large eggs. I've got some pullet eggs, so they're a bit small, so I've gone with 4. And then also 100 grams of mozzarella. Now, I've actually been making mozzarella with some fresh milk. Really easy if you want to give it a try. It's 2 litres of milk will get you around about 300 grams of mozzarella, and you're only adding your vinegar. So it's similar to making ricotta, but not as hot. So I have 100 grams in there, just roughly chopped into about 2 centimetre pieces. And some salt and pepper. And I do love, except not the lid of my salt pepper grinder. That might be interesting. I'm just going to fish a bit of this pepper out because I've just poured a few about a teaspoon of peppercorns in. So bear with me. I'll be back. I'm just going to spoon some of these out.
I'd be happy. Love pepper. It'd go super tasty with your chorizo.
Oh no, this is like a lot of pepper.
Just a few too many? So there's a top tip for everyone watching. Make sure the lid is screwed on properly on your spice containers. Oh, it's broken. Yep, okay, that needs replacing, girl. So what else can you make that are similar to some of these things? So the little chorizo spinach filo pies that Kaz is whipping up at the minute, there is an entertaining collection, and it is the one that it's the collection that the dessert is in that we're going to show you later on, or one of the collections. It's in actually, it's very favorited. It's in 3 different collections, but there's a little mini bacon and vegetable frittata. Another really simple one that goes straight into a muffin tin, great for lunch boxes, really handy to just have little like finger foods, picnics, entertaining, any of those sorts of things. You can put them into the mini muffin trays, you can put them into a normal muffin tray or the larger one. So they're really handy for lunches and snacks and that sort of thing. There is also in Leanne's collection, which is a plant to plate, it is it's a mix really of vegan and vegetarian recipes. There is an absolutely delicious savoury cream cheese dip, which isn't cream cheese at all. It's a vegan version and it is absolutely delicious. It is really lovely. You have chives and everything in there and it is super, super tasty. You wouldn't even know that it was dairy-free as a dip. It's super delicious. And one of the favorite things I make from that collection is the bang bang broccoli. It is yum. You make a beautiful coating for the broccoli. You make a really easy mayonnaise. You can avoid making the mayonnaise. You can buy mayonnaise if you want to, but you're putting sriracha and stuff in the mayonnaise, or you could use a sweet chili if sriracha is too hot or any of that sort of thing. So you get a really tasty dipping sauce with it as well. Leanne, what other tasty treats would you recommend in the finger food variety?
Oh, geez. Well, I guess, can you call a dip a finger food?
Yeah, you
I love all
absolutely
the
can.
dips. Well, the garlic one is one of my favorite, but the capsicum or, sun-dried tomato, capsicum and feta. Oh God,
That's really tasty with the pizza bianca too. Like if you make it like a thicker focaccia and cut that into fingers, then you've got that with your dip.
exactly. Yes.
How are you going there, Kaz?
All right. That is our cheesy spinach mix. It does also say in the tips that you could substitute your feta for your mozzarella, but to leave out that salt because obviously that feta's got that extra salt in it anyway. So easy one to sub out with whatever you have. And you could do whatever fillings you wanted in this style as well. But I do love the Brazilian cheese puffs, are a great finger food. And they're also great for making little, if you sort of push them in and make a little inverted cup, they're great for doing like gluten-free mini quiches as well.
Yeah, little replacement vol au vent containers if you push the middles in.
Alrighty, so now we're just going to combine that with our chorizo bacon mix, and then I will fill up these. So you do have that overlay, which once I've filled them, we're going to fold over the tops, and then they're going into the oven. So they're just 6 sheets. So the packet I've got is 18 sheets. So you're using about a third of a pack of those. So 6 sheets and then cut it into 6. All right. And then I'll get them into the oven and they are going in for 15 to 18 minutes.
That's a really easy one to bulk up to. You could easily double.
Oh, yeah.
Recipe and
Definitely.
crank out quite a few at the same time.
Yep.
How are your chickpeas and everything going in there, Leanne? Or Jane, is your
going
ready to
fine? I know you ready, Jane, because I can do something with mine if you like, because I'm going to make the salad part of that yet. Yeah. Oh, she's unmute. Okay, so my feta, I'm thinking of finger foods. Pitta, I've just taken out of the oven, so I used my timer, which I could, the little line at the top of the screen, Put the timer on for 7 minutes because the pita only needs to be in for 7, so they're nicely crisped up. I'm just going to set those aside. I've got another 4 minutes left for the chickpeas, but while they're still cooking, I've got the salad part of the recipe to continue with. So again, with the TM7, you can skip ahead and you can actually set which step you would like to go on with next, because all the steps so far have been, take the pita out, go into the next stage. So I've removed the pita, so that's that step set aside. I've turned the chickpeas over once because that was halfway through. And I've cleaned and dried my mixing bowl as whilst you guys were, cooking something else. I used the self-clean. So we just go to next. And so now we're up to adding in some red cabbage and thinly sliced. So you can see I've thinly sliced that up. So 150 grams goes in. And some red wine vinegar. So we've got 20 grams of red wine vinegar. So we're going to kind of pickle the cabbage. So 20 grams. Next. Okay, so set aside to pickle slightly. So I'm going to grab my bowl where I put it. Behind here, sorry. I've got that.
For the slicing of the cabbage too, if you've got a TM5 or a 6, you could be using the cutter to slice that up. And if you don't have one, but you own a TM7, you could consider joining the team. At the moment, we have a promotion on come on board either as a Bring consultant where you already own your TM7, get your first sale, and they will give you the new Cutter Plus, which is the cutter and the spiralizer in one for the TM7, plus your soft shell travel bag for your Thermomix. So if you like to take your Thermomix camping, to your friend's house to make yourself some margaritas all the time, any of those sorts of things, then you absolutely can do that. By the same token, you might not own a TM7 yet. You might consider joining the team on the TM for You promotion. It is 4 sales across 90 days, and that is also another awesome way to get a Thermomix on your bench. It's pretty much the #1 way people are getting a Thermomix at the minute because it is an absolutely cracking deal. Your first sale gets you $650 off the cost of your TM7, plus you still get the Cutter Plus and you get your shopper bag. So it's a really great way to get a Thermomix on your bench. So the TM for You or the Bring both will get you the TM7 exclusive Cutter Plus. Back to you, Leanne.
Okay, so if I had another bowl, I could just left that in there too and not have to worry about getting another bowl out. So because I don't, I've had to do an extra step. Okay, so now we've got a quarter of a red onion thinly sliced. We're popping into the bowl. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of sumac. Now, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I haven't used this spice before. It's got a Mediterranean kind of smell, so I'm just going to pop that.
Delicious, and yes, you are. It's sumac.
Okay, good, good. All right, that's in. So for 20 seconds, we're going to mix that. So again, very quiet. Again, put the blade into reverse as it's mixing because we've got our nicely thinly sliced veggies in there. So it's just going to keep them as they were and just mix through that nice spice. Okay, so we go next. Okay, so that's just coated the onion there with all that spice. So now we're going to add in some yellow capsicum. So this dish is really colourful. So, it really it's going to look brilliant when it's finished. Let me tell you, everyone's going to want to eat it. So yellow capsicum, we've got half of one of those in. Now I'm going to put 40 grams of oil Now I'm paranoid my lid's going to fall off, like with Kaz. So that's in. We've got 50 grams of lemon juice. Yeah, so that's in. And a teaspoon of salt. Pop that in next.
And in the meantime, I've poured over my marinade, popped on roughly a tablespoon of sesame seeds. They're also going to toast up in the oven.
Beautiful. All right, so mine's just mixing for 10 seconds and my timer went off, so my chickpeas will be ready in the oven. And we are now going to transfer that into the bowl I've set aside with the cabbage. So I'm just going to transfer that in. So that's now got the onion, the red capsicum, the lemon juice, the oil. And if you're in my house right now, it does smell delicious.
And this is a great meat-free alternative. So a really good budget-friendly dish, this one.
Exactly. So that's pretty much it for the salad. So the next part is for me to put it all together and make it look pretty. So I've got some ribbon cucumber there. That's going to go into my bowl. So that's all done. Yeah. I've got some pomegranate.
Yeah.
And everything else that I've made. So I'm going to now put that into a bowl and make it look pretty. And that's it, really. That's my dish. Very simple and very tasty, I can imagine, once I'm done.
Oh, we'll come back to you shortly to see that all plated up. Jane, would you like to carry on?
I am. I'm doing all the fun stuff tonight. I'm going straight for drinks and dessert. So it's almost like a Friday night here instead of a Tuesday. I am going to do the quick strawberry dessert. So this is one that I haven't actually done before, but I've had lots of customers tell me how amazing it is. So I'm looking forward to it. It does serve 6 people on our TM7. So we are going to get started. First, we're just going to put in our sugar and mill our sugar. So again, it's given you that range of choosing between 80 to 100 grams. We're going to blend that up. Who loves the wow factor of milling your raw sugar into icing sugar and caster sugars of your Thermomix? And I just remembered you would have cut me off again, didn't you? I said, who loves the wow factor and the saving your money in just having your raw sugar and milling it into your caster sugars or your icing sugars and a cool cloud? We should be doing that on Friday for Halloween and have all the spooky dust coming around.
Plus, you're getting rid of all the additives and the preservatives. You don't need any anti-caking, no antifungal. Just buy one product, keep one product in your pantry. Yeah, make life.
I've just got some frozen strawberries that I had in my thermostat. I do like to make sure when you're using frozen strawberries that you don't have any big, massive ones in there, just to be friendly to your blades. They can handle them, but why make them work hard when we don't need to? The berries. And I've got just some lemon juice. And we're going to blend that up.
Well,
I'm going to go for about 45 seconds, so someone else might want to jump on because I can't talk in between. Sorry.
While that's blending, I would love to know in the chat or unmute yourself what model Thermomix everyone has. You've probably seen either on your socials or via your emails or from a text or a call from your consultant that we currently have a trade-up option to trade up, literally, to a TM7. So at the minute, you can trade in your TM21 or 31 to get $250 off the cost of your TM7. If you own a TM5, you can get $450 off the cost of your TM7. And if you own a TM6, you can trade that in for $750 off the cost of your TM7. So really, really good way to get a Thermomix on your bench. Or you could be like myself and about to have one moving out of home. And so you just decide, you know what, I'm going to treat myself with an early Christmas present. And you might just buy yourself a TM7 because you're moving the other Thermomix out the door with someone who's about to head off to university. So it's up to you, but there are definitely some great options out there. So make sure you're reaching out to your consultant. What have you got over there, Jane?
I like a sorbet. So we're going to use the basis of that for the bottom of our dessert, and I'm going to learn to layer it up. So we're using about half of what's in the mixing bowl. And I'm going to just move my Thermomix back. What I love with the TM7 is my glider board and everything's built in it, so it's really easy for me to move around on my bench. Now, I may be a bit generous. I may have only got 4 glasses instead of 6, because not everyone in our household will eat it, although I did make sure we had someone else here to help us.
Oh, honey, I might come and trade you for some chicken wing dings at this point for one of those desserts and a drink.
That's easy done. Styling is not my strong point, so I'm a bit of a whack it in. So I'm a bit nervous with this one, but I love that it's always pretty forgiving and the food speaks for itself. You'll notice the new shape of the TM7 spatula, so it's really easy to get down to the bottom of your bowl and get all that food out and have less wastage in there. Okay, I reckon that's that step done. Don't look how even they are though. There might be one that's mine. No, unfortunately, Peter will make them again. They won't last till Thursday, but we can whip them up again because it's things that I pretty much have in the pantry, which is really nice and easy.
Hey, that's some very wishful thinking on your behalf down there.
Okay, I'm actually just going to put my butterfly whisk in now. So I've left half of that kind of sorbet. Hopefully I've been generous enough. Put that whisk in. I've got
Now, which
2
way
egg
was
whites that I've separated.
Which way did you put that in, Jane?
Doesn't matter for my 7. I can just whack it in. I don't have to lock it. I don't have to do anything. It just goes in.
How good is that? I love not having to think about which way it goes in.
Okay, let's blend this up. I've got to do this whipping for about 2 minutes. So again, I reckon we'll hand across to someone.
Kaz, do you want to start the Waldorf salad?
I can sure do that. Rightio. So I've just gone back a screen, gone back to the weekly planner and clicked on the next recipe. And what that has done is actually put my current recipe into the recently cooked. So it's really easy just to go back to that. You can open a new recipe and still have one sitting in the background. So for the very start of our recipe, we've got some parsley, 1 sprig of parsley. I just sent the kids out to the garden to grab some. It does also say some dill. I've just skipped that. I'm not going to bother going and buying dill if I didn't have it already in the fridge. So you can really mix and match what you would like to do in this recipe. If I was doing it for maybe a dinner party, I may have gone and bought some. And then also 1 garlic clove. So just popping the parsley and the garlic in together. And then it's going to chop that for 3 seconds, speed 8. And as Sarah mentioned before, you can dial that back as well. Before I forget, I'm just going to add another tip to the ginger. tip that Sarah said about the coins is they're also great to put in the freezer. Coin up your ginger, and then you put in the freezer, and then you can just bring it out of the freezer to cook with. So that is our parsley and garlic in there. And we're just going to scrape down the sides. Always taking care to go in a clockwise direction if you are scraping out your bowl or scooping out your food clockwise, so that you don't injure your spatula. All right, next up we have 2 ounces. So the recipe is from overseas, so it's bring up ounces, but we don't have to worry about changing that. It's just going to weigh them for us. So 2 ounces of pecans. We also have an apple, which is roughly a whole apple, with 6 ounces. And 2 ounces of red onion, just cut into pieces. And our celery. So just cut into pieces there. And it's just going to chop for 2 seconds, speed 5. And Jane has something to show you.
I get really excited. How cool does it look? It's so awesome and fluffy. So this is, they're calling the foam layer. And then I am going to get 3 tablespoons and layer this on. Again, jump to someone while I'm doing this, because afterwards, after I've just taken out this part of half of this layer, I'm going to add some milk in. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh. All right, so then that is all our chopped up fruit and veggie section. And I've just scraped down those sides. Now it's asking us to add in some cooked shredded chicken, but to leave the chicken sort of large pieces, you don't want to really finely shredded. So 16 ounces there. I just pulled 2 breasts out of the freezer and I just put them in the Varoma and cook them while we're cooking dinner while we're eating dinner. So they just sat in the Varoma for about 20 minutes. I did leave them whole. If they were cut up already, it wouldn't take that long, probably about 15 minutes. So I've just poached that there. Then we have some mayonnaise, and this is some homemade mayonnaise. Really easy to make. You know what's going in it. And we have roughly 2 ounces in there, which is a couple of large spoonfuls. And then we also have 2 ounces of yogurt. So if you have the little yogurt jars, 2 ounces is roughly half of that. I should say about 2/3 actually. And then 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. I'm going to dial this back a little bit so that the kids will be more inclined to eat it.
I saw that, Jane.
About 2/3 of a tablespoon in there. And some salt and pepper. I'm obviously going to leave the pepper out now that I've have a broken lid on my pepper grinder. And some paprika. And roughly an eighth of a teaspoon. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shake in there. And once that is all in, we are going to mix for 20 seconds, speed 3, reverse. So but if you can still hear me, I love making my yogurt in these. I will do some sweet, some natural. So you can just pour out your milk after you've done your natural, then add some sugar in and put the rest of it in together. You can do 8 of these in the Varoma, or you could even put some extra jars in there as well. Now that we've got the bigger Varoma with the TM7, you can fit the 8 of these plus another big jar in the middle as well. So great to have in the fridge. All right, so that's all that mixed together. How easy was that? And now we're going to add 6 ounces of red grapes cut in half. I've been trying to hide these from the kids because they've just been wanting to eat them all in the fridge. And then we're just stirring that to combine, and I'm going to arrange it then in my bowl with some lettuce. So I'm just going to stir it and combine it together in that clockwise direction. And then I'm going to pour it out. So
we
I'll
might
bring that
back across to Jane to see the finish of her dessert.
I
Oi.
also realised I need to get a new spoon now that I've licked the other one.
The benefit of a Zoom class, Jane.
I've got people hanging on the other side of the bench waiting for these at the moment. And as I said, look, I am not the best at styling and layering, but if you cleaned up that glass, how amazing is that looking? And such a beautiful, healthy, different dessert. I love it as a kind of summer take on chocolate mousse or something like that. I think I'm converted. Okay.
So did you just add some milk?
So I just added some
Left
milk
over?
to what was left of my foam. So I started with kind of the most concentrated layer, and then we added the egg whites in there. So we've got kind of a foam, and now we've made a strawberry milkshake. And I've still got everyone waiting. And I'm going to pour that over the top. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to try to get as close as I can before the people come in. So that should hopefully, up close, you get the 3 layers.
Make sure you take a photo.
I'm just trying to keep them back for the moment so I
Don't
can
let them
get
eat
the
them.
photo. Maybe I should have made 6 after all. They're all dibsing different ones already. Okay. Let's put me back on mute.
Love that. The people on the other side of the bench are saying, it's taken too long. It actually didn't take Mum very long at all. We just didn't have her at the start. Maybe we should have for those
They're just dibsing them. They're like, that one's mine, that one's mine.
No, which dibs one?
We have mentioned a few times, and you've probably heard the dinging sound in the background, and we've been touching the top line across the top of the Thermomix. So that is called the cooking center. So if you are in a recipe and you want to go and do something else, like set a timer or bring up some independent scales, because while it's cooking, you want to weigh something else, then you totally can. So I've been using the timer for the 2 different cook stages. Leanne also used the cook timer for her pita breads and also for her chickpeas and onion capsicum mix that she had there. So really easy to do that. Kaz has probably got a timer set on hers going for her chorizo filos that are in the oven, and it works independently and has a different chiming sound than your recipe. If you're using a recipe and it's cooking, that will also disappear into the cooking center, so you can continue to search on your Thermomix, add things to your weekly planner, or go look at the next dish you're planning to make, so you could start getting ingredients out, and your recipe just continues in the background via the cooking center. So it's a really great addition to the TM7 and to the, to get the best out of that beautiful big screen that we have now. So that is how the cooking center works. How are you going over there, Jane? Is that ready to show a final version? And you've got your drink to show us as well there.
Okay, I'm going up as close as I can
Yum.
with that one. One may have already disappeared. I'll do a photo after, I'll save one. The back. And then I just wanted to pour our drink. So I just added some ice cubes into this. If it was a Friday night, you could make it an alcoholic instead of a non-alcoholic and add your tipple to it as well. That
One
is
Friday, like good tonight.
I would
Oh.
be adding the ice with a little bit of gin or vodka and blitzing it so you've got a slushy.
Yeah.
No,
Now
I'm happy with the juice. Happy with the juice. You can obviously add more berries and things to the side, and as I said, make it as fancy as you like, but it's going to taste just as good like this. So that's how it's going to stay.
And it is only Tuesday. Worth
And
thinking about.
so,
Leanne, how does your shawarma bowl look over there?
let me.
Ah, that looks sensational. Look at all those lovely, vibrant colours.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into that.
I bet the smell of the cumin
Beautiful.
and the sumac and everything is
All right, yeah.
just
Mediterranean.
over there.
Yep.
Kaz, how's your salad finished up?
It is beautiful. That's
Oh,
so many servings. Beautiful bowl, yeah. But that's going to work with me tomorrow, or some of it is anyway, for my lunch. So yeah, super
excellent.
fresh. Got the texture from the nuts as well, and the grapes. Nice mixture of flavors. And that's my timer for my Philos.
Few stage left. There was the chimer sound for the timer if you hadn't heard it before.
what do you think, girls?
And this here is the Philos.
Give me 2
So-
seconds. Just move the other one.
Oh,
out.
sorry.
Hang on. I'm coming.
If you want more of the milkshake bit, just grab me a glass. I can pour some of just the
There we
milky bit in.
Yeah, so they're beautiful, piping hot, gooey, cheesy, spinachy, delicious.
Righto. And then I've got our completed chicken sticky drumettes. They're all there. I'm just going to pop those into a thermoserver so they can stay nice and warm while we finish up here tonight. But that's literally all of our dishes. We've made our beautiful chickpea shawarma bowl. We've had our Waldorf salad, our chorizo and spinach filo pastry pies. We've had our beautiful berry mojito of the virgin variety, so nice alcohol-free, nice and refreshing drink. We've got our sticky chicken drumettes, and we've finished off with that delicious strawberry dessert, which has the 3 layers to look at that. How good do they look right now? I'm starting to salivate over here. With the 3 different layers, so you've got, you know, all those beautiful flavors. So you're just keeping on adding to each layer as you go up. Just one more ingredient, one more, and then you end up with this beautiful dessert. So hopefully across the last hour, we have shown you just how simple it is to whip out healthy, delicious, money-saving, time-saving recipes for your TM7 or any model of Thermomix that you currently have. But we've shown you a few of the new features of the TM7. There are plenty more we have not covered yet. So make sure you're reaching out to your consultant if you want to see that in person. We can come and do a one-on-one. We can do a cooking demonstration. We are running open houses as well at the moment. So most of us are pretty much opening up our doors and going, come on down, have a look, have a touch, come and see just how big the screen is. Vicky will make sure you get a recording as well. So don't stress about that. So everyone who's come along this evening, it seems to have recorded fine. I haven't dropped out at any stage, so we should be able to get this loaded up for you. Oh, Jane, right. That dessert did not last long at all. So I take it that was a winner. 2 thumbs up. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kaz, Leanne, and Jane for helping me demonstrate just how easy it is to make delicious, simple dishes in your Thermomix that are restaurant quality. But that's it for us. Thanks for joining Team Elevate, and we look forward to seeing you at our next class. We do have a cookie do session on tomorrow.